What's up, Cougar Nation? This is Elliot Higgins here with Coach Andrew Palmer of the women's volleyball team. Last week, the women's volleyball team made a trip or stayed at home to play Aurora and dropped that one, and then went on the road to MSOE and dropped that one as well. Against Aurora, Lily Hunt and Kate Foley led the team in kills, and against MSOE, Lily Hunt and Rachel Livesay led the team in kills. Coach Palmer, what did you see from the team this week that you guys can build upon, like work off of, that you did a little bit, that you did well, you would say?
Yeah, really starting at the Aurora match, I mean, we started fast. They had to come from behind and push it to extra points in that first set. So I think really starting fast and playing with high energy and running the game plan really well. And kind of same thing on Saturday as well. We had leads in all three sets and were unable to finish. But we were able to serve receive better than both opponents this past week, and we're scoring points. And so, it's coming down to those little things. So, but really impressed with the ability to serve receive and push games.
Yeah, and then on the other hand, what did you see from the team that you guys are going to work on a little bit in practice that you really want to improve upon going into these two last matches of the season? Yeah,
really just, kind of focusing on offensive side of the ball. We're scoring points, but I think there can be some better decisions to be made, some more shots that we can develop. So really just continuing to work. I mean, this week is very important for us. We're a young team, and, even though there's no postseason this year, we're still have a lot to play for and a lot to get better at.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there's not going to be a postseason for you guys this year. What do you kind of say to the team to help them kind of still have energy, still want to go out there and compete at the highest level?
Yeah, part of it's the message before is that, this is a really young team, and there's a lot of freshmen and sophomore that have a lot left to play for and still want to develop. These reps are important for us, and for their older teammates. These are their last couple of games of their career, and so, we want to go on a high note for them too as well. And so I think it's a disservice to mail it in. There's still a lot to play for, and there's still a lot to get better at together.
Yeah. The Cougars head over to Dominican. They stay in River Forest for their next matchup on Thursday, and then they come back for the season finale on Saturday against Lakeland. Coach Palmer, what do you want to see from the team outside of the wins and loss column in these last two games?
Yeah, I think we've done a really good job on implementing in practice the things we're working on earlier in practice. When we get into live play, I think we're doing a better job of kind of working on those things. I'd like to see those things now translate onto game day. So some of the shots that we're working on, some different formations, and defensively being a little bit scrappier. I mean, there's a lot that we're doing.
All right, well, that's all for us here on the Cougar Sports Network. Tune in to CUCougars.com to catch all things women's volleyball. Roll Cougs.
Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome to Geisman Gymnasium here on November 8th for the season finale of Cougar Volleyball. Concordia, Chicago hosting the visiting Lakeland Muskies from Plymouth, Wisconsin in their season finale in what has been a tale of two seasons for these two squads. Lakeland coming into the game top 4 in the conference, looking to host a home playoff game. The Cougars, tough season for Concordia, finished on track to finish right around the bottom of the conference. Not the season that Concordia wanted. They'll look to finish it on a high note against Lakeland at home today as we get ready to go. I'm Jonathan Shearer with the Cougar Sports Network. Joining me today is Eric Perry. And Eric, when you're going into a game like this for CUC, where's your mentality at? Your season has been done and dusted, and you're going up against a team that still has something to play for.
Honestly, at this point, you're just trying to end the season on a high note. You're trying to get a quality win and play a little bit of spoiler for Lakeland, knock them down a peg before the NAC tournament.
And it'll be Lakeland to serve it up to get things going. Number 34, Mackenzie Kowalaski will send it over. And Lily Hunt looking to get things going for CUC, sends it wide. So that first point will go to the Muskies.
Hunt saw that near side corner over here for Lakeland, was relatively unoffended, but just put a little too much power on it.
Kowalaski can't get it over the net, and the Cougars get an arrow right back their way to pick up their first point of the day. We're tied at 1 as Kate Foley will drop back for the serve.
Kowaleski's a good server for the Muskies, 28 aces, 24 errors.
I'll get passed up for Hughes. Fitzgerald receives. Rathel will set it for Hunt. And Hunt able to get that one deflected to the back wall. And the Cougars in front 2-1.
Yeah, good play by Lily Hunt. She hit it so that the Muskies had to run back for it. And as a result, send it right off the short wall.
Foley sends that over. Hughes receives. Gay sets that for Hughes. And the Cougs can't keep it up. And we're back even at 2.
Yeah, big shot. Cougar front line kind of sent it down. India Day tried to recover, but couldn't lift it any higher than straight into the net.
Kenzie Jackson, the freshman out of Kennedale, Texas, now back for the serve. And sends it into the net. Second service error already on the day for Lakeland, and the Cougars back in front 3-2 as Bethany Rathel heads back to serve.
If you're Lakeland, that is not a trend that you want to see continue throughout this game.
Rathel sends it over. Backwards set, blocked down! Gay sets it again, now it's Hughes, and that one off of Foley and goes to ground. Back even at 3.
Cougars had the big block there, but then Foley on that one had to dive for it and just wasn't able to make good solid contact with it.
It's now Sydney Gay back to serve. Foley receives, Fitzgerald tracks it down, set for Hunt. Blocked out of bounds, and the Cougars go up 4-3. These two squads trading points back and forth early on.
Yeah, these two teams, again, like you mentioned earlier, have had very different trajectories on the season so far, but Cougars are trying to finish strong. Their season may be over, but they're still trying to win this last one.
Elena Adler with the serve. Gay sets that up. A tapper to no man's land from Caitlin Pernsteiner.
That was a great play by the Muskies. Totally fooled the Cougars front line there. They weren't expecting a spike.
It's Maya Hughes back to serve. Foley sends it straight back over. Gay setting the backside for Pernsteiner, who puts too much on it, but it's tipped at the line.
Fortunate turn of event there for the Muskies. Thought it was way out at first, but went not right off the Cougar fingertips.
Hughes sends it over again. Rathel receives. Adler setting for Day. And Day slams that right back down off the long reception. India Day, first action she's seen, and she gets her first kill out of it.
And Muskies had the errant reception, sent it right back over straight at India Day, and she made them pay for it.
It's India Day now back to serve. Received by Figge. Passed over to Pernsteiner. And that time, too much on it, but not tipped. And the Cougars back in front 6-5.
It's a very close start to this game and this set. Just two teams going back and forth, trading points.
Day can't get that one over the net, and it'll get sent back over to the Cougars, to the Muskies. So, yeah, like you mentioned, Eric, still close, still just getting traded back and forth. Back even at 6. It's Figgy back for the serve. And Foley can't receive it cleanly. Rathel keeps it in, and Day gets it over. Cougars stay alive. And they get the point. Errant passing on Lakeland's end. Kovalaski sends it out. And the Cougars go from nothing to something, and they're back in front 7-6.
That was an incredible play by Rathel to save it from hitting the bleachers, and an India Day to just get it all the way over. And then Lakeland with the bad pass. Cougars get a point out of that.
Now Harmony Cooper with the serve. Gay sets that up for Kovalaski, and that time she finds ground, tied back up at 7.
And Kovalaski went up for that one, just send a smash shot straight at the Cougs, and at Harmony Cooper couldn't field it cleanly.
Bernsteiner with the serve. Rathel receives. Adler setting for Foley. Blocked out of bounds, and the Cougs take that point right back. That little trade-off still continuing.
Yeah, this far we haven't seen any team have a lead of greater than 1 yet.
No, you're getting a couple points back-to-back, but you're not seeing any big runs so far.
No, you're seeing the teams get the point. They'll go down 1. They'll score 2 to go up 1. But then the other team will score to tie it and then go up, and it's back and forth, back and forth.
Eva Fitzgerald sends it across. Errant reception by Figgy, and the Cougars get the first 2-point lead of the day.
Guess we spoke it into existence.
9-7 lead for Concordia. Fitzgerald looking to keep it going. Another ace! Back to back for Eva Fitzgerald, and the Cougars into double digits. They lead 10-7.
Eva Fitzgerald, perfect placement on that one, and the Muskies didn't know what to do with it.
Fitzgerald sends it across. Errant reception, out of bounds. 3 in a row for Eva Fitzgerald. It's 11-7.
Eva Fitzgerald came into the day leading the team in service aces with 48. She's already gotten herself up to over 50.
Off the net, kept up by Kovalaski. And a nice floater. Rathel keeps it up. Quevedo keeps it up. Fitzgerald gets it over. Fitzgerald sets it for Quevedo. Lakeland can't return it. And the Cougars up by 5. Going to be honest on that point, and there's our first time out from head coach Ryan Schaff as his team goes down 5 on that point. After the Cougars kept it up right along the line, I think Lakeland, that big mistake was trying to send it straight back over.
100%. I get why they wanted to do that. You know, you want to immediately capitalize on kind of just the miscellaneous confusion on the Cougars side, but they didn't even bother trying to see if they could maybe switch it up and find a perfect shot to break through the Cougar defense. Instead, they just send it right back over, and the Cougars managed to get it past them.
Yeah, you can kind of tell, obviously, trying to find a gap on the back line.
Yeah.
Cougars, you're crashing on the net, trying to keep it up. But CUC does have defenders there, so it's trying to make a play that wasn't there.
Exactly.
And it set up an easy offensive play for Concordia. So right when we mentioned neither of these teams had been able to go on a run, the Cougars go on a 5-point run, and they lead 12-7. You can see Coach Schaff not the happiest right now, trying to get his team back into it.
Absolutely. And obviously, you know, it's still early in set number 1. There's still a lot of volleyball to be played today. But you don't want this first set to set the tone for how the rest of the day is going to go.
Yeah. Still a lot of time to get back into it for Lakeland. And the elephant in the room being Concordia has struggled to hold leads this season.
Yeah, Cougars have had trouble closing out games and sets this year.
Fitzgerald able to get it over. That'll get passed up for Kovalaski. Fitzgerald setting for Foley. Tipped, kept up. Gay setting for Kovalaski again. Blocked over from Quevedo. Gay, this time, able to get it up. Fitzgerald to Day, who just has to pass it over. And Gay slaps it over. Able to make something out of an errant pass. And the Muskies able to get the point back.
And that's big for the Muskies. Whenever you call a timeout, you want to get the all-important first point out of that timeout to show that whatever was said in the timeout worked and hopefully gets you on the right track.
Day receives. Fitzgerald setting Cavado. Short set. Lakeland able to return. Day on the reception. Fitzgerald now to Hunt. Backside. Kovalowski passing in. Sent over by Kitsemble. Now Fitzgerald setting back for Hunt again. Slapped straight back over. It's Cavado to Fitzgerald. Now over to Foley. Falling back on the hit. Kovalowski slaps it up. Hughes sends it over. Wrathel, Fitzgerald going to Hunt again. And that'll find ground. Cougars take the point back.
And what's looked different so far for the Cougs today, they've done a really good job of moving the ball around on their side and maneuvering it so they find the good angles and the good opportunities to get points.
Kate Foley with the serve. Gay setting for Hughes. Kept up by Hunt, and Cavado with a slam dunk to bring it back.
Lakeland thought they had the point. They thought it was done, but Cougs kept it up and made Lakeland pay.
Just throw the hands up, see if you get something. Lily Hunt does. 6-point lead as Gay passes that over to Jackson. Fitzgerald, quick set to Cavado. Floater, able to be kept up. Hughes can't get it over the net. Cavado tried to slam it down. Now Cavado again sends it out. And that slam on the net from Cavado does cost the Cougars as Hughes' shot was not going to get over the net.
Yeah, that would have been 4 hits for Lakeland, but instead they get the point off. And I think on that end when Cavado, she saw that there was the Lakeland defense was coming in here, so she was trying to get it to that cross court, but wasn't able to find pay dirt.
Now back to serve for the first time today is Amira Shapansky. And Tay trying to bring the haymaker and can't get it past the net. So 2 in a row for Lakeland. They hit double digits, score 10-14. As Shapansky continuing to serve, and she sends it out of bounds.
India Day all too happy to let that to watch that one go by. Cougs get possession back, also get the first ones to 15.
Yeah, third service error, and that service line is proving to be a big difference between these two squads so far today. 3 service errors for the Muskies, just 1 for the Cougars, and the Cougs have 3 service aces to no errors. And there, that shot into the net, Cougars back up by 6. But yeah, that service line, that can be a big difference maker, and so far it's working out for CUC.
Well, that's been a theme for Lakeland throughout the year. They have 50 more service errors than they do service aces.
Wrathel sends it over. Kovalowski to Gay, passing over to Hughes. Day keeps it up. Wrathel tracks it down, and nobody going for it to send it over.
Yeah, it looked like Harmony Cooper thought someone else was going to be coming in to get the hit over, and then last second realized she was the only one, so she dove to try to make a play for it. By that point, it was too late.
So point Muskies, they trail by 5 as Sydney Gay heads back for the serve. Brenner receives. Fitzgerald setting Day, the hammer! Blows right by Figgy.
Figgy did her best to try to receive that one, but Day just sent an absolute missile past her.
And it was also a perfectly executed fake from Harmony Cooper on that hit. Nicely timed, very close to where the play is actually being made. And you get Figgy's time off a bit as well. Gay able to get there to pass it up for Hughes. Brenner receives. White tracks it down, and Adler sends it over. And Lakeland can't receive it cleanly. Figgy's late on the jump. Hughes doesn't get out of the way in time. And the Cougs lead by 7. It's 18-11.
What we've seen in this first set is that the Cougs refuse to let any point die. They're playing until that ball hits the ground, no matter how far they have to run to get it.
Gay sets it up for Hughes, and that'll end up out of bounds. Just wasn't able to get the angle on it, too far to the right side of the ball. And it's an 8-point lead for CUC.
And all of a sudden, Cougs just 6 points away from taking set number 1. Lakeland reeling a bit.
Gay will set that up for Hughes. Adler gets it. White will pass it up for Gonsalves. Gay setting Hughes again, and that'll get down. 19-12, Lakeland able to break up the 3-0 run.
Hughes saw a bit of a circle there in the middle of the Concordia defense, and he was able to place it right in the middle.
Brenner receives. Adler setting over to Day. Received by Figgy. Gay sets that up for Baker, who's able to get it blocked out of bounds. 2 in a row for Lakeland, and they're back within 6.
And at this point, if Lakeland wants to win this first set, they're going to have to go on a bit of a run. Obviously, Cougs were up by 8, so they need to really string some points back to back.
Hughes across. White receives. Adler setting for Day. Kept up by Gay. Figgy passing over to Pernsteiner. Gonsalves just has to go back and slap it across. Gay. This time setting Kovalaski. Kept up. Adler over to Day. Can't get it over the net. Too much on top of it. And Lakeland's within 5.
I've seen a few points where Day's really tried to go all the way up and get the big power hit, but just hasn't been able to get the timing quite right on some of them.
Hughes gets it over. White receives. And no one was there for to pick up the reception. It was errant, wasn't towards Adler. And she tried to get over there as people try to get out of the way. Can't get there. Lakeland 4 in a row to get within 4. Cougars lead dwindling as they'll take a break on the court. We'll take a break up here at the Cougar Sports Network, and we'll be back in just a minute. And we're back on the Cougar Sports Network. Hughes sends it over. Errant reception from Brenner, kept up by the Cougs. Gay, back set for Pernsteiner. Able to get that down, and Lakeland gets the point off the Cougars timeout, and they're within 3. It's a 5-0 run.
Yeah, Cougars were pulling out to a bit of lead, and all of a sudden Lakeland's flipped on a dime.
White receives. Adler setting for Day, going back for it, and it's tipped out of bounds. 5-0 run broken up. Cougars crack 20. And it's a 4-point lead as India Day will head back to serve.
Might not have been how Day exactly envisioned that going when she lined up under the ball, but hey, she'll take it. Cougars are at 20.
India Day able to get it over this time. Gay, short set for Baker. And the Cougs can't get it back up, so Lakeland will take that point straight back. They're down by 3 as Figgy will head back for the serve. Ryan Figgy will toss it up and send it over. Wraithel receives. Adler setting for Foley. Floater kept up. Gay passing up this time for Kovalaski, blocked back. Kovalaski again. That one will get out of bounds. Point Lakeland. They're within 2.
Lakeland has done a good job of regrouping when it seemed like the Cougars might be running away with this. Lakeland's managed to calm down and refocus and get the momentum firmly on their side.
Figgy tosses it up, sends it over. Wraithel receives. Adler tracks it down. Foley has to take it, and that'll get down. right on the back line. These two squads trading points. It's a 21-18 match.
That was a nice shot by Foley. She was able to split the difference there on the Muskies defense.
Harmony Cooper with the serve, able to get it over and down. It's an ace. Miscommunication between Kowalski and Esquivel.
There have been a few situations so far in set one where Lakeland hasn't been firmly on the same page, and Cougars, for the most part, have made them regret it.
Fourth service ace of the set for CUC. Cooper will toss it up, send it over. Esquivel receives. Gay setting for Pernsteiner. Now Gonsalves, long set over to Foley. Can't keep that one down. And Lakeland gets back within 3.
Looked like that one went a little bit further than Foley was expecting. She kind of had to readjust herself under it, and as a result, wasn't able to pinpoint her shot where she'd like it to go.
Raythel receives. Adler able to track it down. Foley off the pin. And Lakeland back within 2.
And at this point, Cougars would be content to just trade points with the Muskies.
Pernsteiner sends it over. Raythel to Gonsalves, passing for Foley. Just has to hit it over. Easily blocked back down. And Lakeland is within 1.
Yeah, that shot went directly at the outstretched arm of the Muskies, who then sent it directly into the ground for Concordia. All of a sudden, this is a 1-point game.
22-21. Pernsteiner continuing to serve. Tosses it up, sends it over. Raythel receives. Fitzgerald setting for Foley. Gay looking for Kowalski, and we're tied at 22. And there, Andrew Palmer is going to call the timeout. His team had an 8-point lead. That's all disappeared. It's 22-22 in River Forest. And Eric, what do you think's changed?
Honestly, it's just like, we've seen this before with the Cougars, where they'll jump out to big leads. You know, in this case, they're up by 8, but the second momentum gets on the other team's side, the Cougars just falter. They kind of disappear. And, you know, we were hoping that going into this game last one of the season, maybe they could kind of get past that. But so far in set number 1, that has proven to not be the case. The second Lakeland kind of woke up and had some life in them, the Cougar defense folded a bit.
And another part that goes to that errors, I mean, for most of this set, it's been pretty much an even 1-point margin at most. And the Cougars' rough run of it as well, up to an 8 errors on this set, a very high total just for Lakeland's 4. And that hit percentage for CUC has dropped below 100 to an 0.91.
And that's something that you don't want to see. And it's like, even when things in terms of serving have gone well for the Cougars, they only have 1 service error to Lakeland's 3. They have 4 aces to Lakeland's 1, but that's not something that you can rely on long term. You have to rely on the individual points. And like you said, those 8 errors are what's killing the Cougs right now.
It'll be a 3-point sprint to the finish in set number 1. Lakeland on a 4-0 run, as Caitlin Pernsteiner will look to put Lakeland back in front for the first time since single digits. Cavado tipped up at the line. Gay with a dump off, kept up by Hunt. Fitzgerald sets for Cavado, who went up early. And Lakeland's back in front, 23-22.
Cuevado went up for that one and just absolutely whiffed on it. Ball went right past her, and yeah, Lakeland has their first lead in a minute.
Pernsteiner will send it over. Raythel, an errant reception. It's an ace for Pernsteiner. And a 6-0 run has put Lakeland at set point.
And what we say in that timeout, Jonathan, the errors were killing the Cougs, and just like that, they have 2 in the first 2 points out of that.
Day receives. Fitzgerald a dump off, easily kept up. Gay setting for Kowalski. Hunt to Cavado. Livesey just gets it over, straight back. Hunt just passes it back over. Looking like practice out there is Lily Hunt now with a hit. Gay sets that up. Fitzgerald passing up for Hunt from mid-range. Kept up. Gay setting for Kowalski. Hunt gets it over. Gay this time for Jackson to White. Fitzgerald setting for Livesey, and it's down. Long rally won by Concordia, and the Cougars shorten it to 1 point gap. It's 24-23. CUC needs at least one more to force extra volleyball. Eva Fitzgerald tosses it up, sends it over. Esquivel to Figgy, to Kowalski, blocked back. Gay going to Kowalski again, down on the line. And Lakeland wins it 25-23. Andrew Palmer very unhappy that was called in. Looked pretty in.
Yeah, I would say, obviously we're not on the floor like Palmer is, but just from this angle, it definitely looks to me that it caught the line. It was a great placement by Lakeland. Yeah, it's obviously I understand why Palmer's upset. If that's out, we're playing extra volleyball in set number 1. But again, from this angle, looked like it was on the line.
Lakeland able to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Cougars snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in set number 1. We'll take a break on the court and bring it back for set number 2 in just a couple minutes. Welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium here on the Cougar Sports Network. I'm Jonathan Shear here with Eric Perry as we get ready to go in set number 2. Lakeland clawed back from an 8-point deficit to win set number 1, 25-23. They lead 1-0 as we go into set number 2. And Eric, it's felt like we've watched that set before.
Oh, yeah, it feels like there have been countless times throughout this season where we have seen the Cougars get up to a big lead, seem to have momentum all of their side, and then all of a sudden just fade away. The other team goes on a run, comes back and wins. Cougars end up dropping the match, so hopefully Cougars can regroup here and end up picking up the next 3 sets, but I wouldn't be super shocked if that doesn't end up being the case.
Cougars looking to battle back in set number 2 as Eva Fitzgerald will head back to serve. She's got 3 aces on the day so far. Fitzgerald tosses it up, sends it over. Hughes receives. Gay will pass it up for Hughes. And that'll get sent out. Cougars take first blood.
And if the Cougars want to come back and pick up the win in set two, they need to make sure to take advantage of those Lakeland errors. Lakeland didn't have that many in set number one, so the Cougars have to keep an eye on that.
Gay setting that up for Jackson, kept up by White. Fitzgerald back set for Hunt. Too much on it. And we're tied back at 1.
Yeah, Hunt was trying to go north to south on that one, just overshot it by a little bit.
1-1 score. Back for the serve is Shapansky. Shapansky gets it over. Hunt passes it back in. White just has to send it over the net. Gay. Easy setup for Baker, who can just power it down.
There was a massive gap here on the Cougars defense, and Gay saw that, went up and delivered it.
Livesey receives. Fitzgerald. A dump off kept up by Hughes. Gay passes it in. Just shoved over by the defense. Hunt, hard shot off the net. Gay setting over to Hughes, and that'll get down 3-1 Lakeland.
Good ball movement there by Lakeland to keep going up and down across the court until they could get the good shot they wanted. They got it right past the Concordia front line.
Day to Fitzgerald, setting Hunt. Slaps it across. Gay will set up Hughes. And there's Cavado, floater. Kept up. Hughes just slaps it back over. Now Fitzgerald looking for Livesey this time. Blocked down. And Lakeland, 4 in a row. They lead 4-1.
Cougars tried to recover off that block, but the ball just went straight backwards. There was nothing they could do.
3-point lead for Lakeland. Goes down to 2 as Shapansky sends it into the net.
Lakeland had 3 service errors in the first set. Makes their second one, that's their first one here in set number 2.
Livesey with the serve, gets it over. Gay sets that for Hughes, tipped at the line. Fitzgerald setting now for Day, too much on it, and it's a 5-2 game.
Day was looking for that far side corner, trying to get it over the heads of everyone. Fortunately, she sent it over the line as well.
Back for the serve is Sydney Gay. Gay tosses it up, sends it over. White receives. Fitzgerald setting for Cavado. Floater kept up by the Muskies. Fitzgerald to Cavado again. High set. Cavado's able to get it over. Now Fitzgerald this time setting for Hunt. Hard shot. And that'll get to the back wall. Lily Hunt just powers through. And the Cougs are within 2.
Lakeland had the nice save. Then it got back to the Cougs, and they just hit Lily Hunt. Just got a power shot and made the Muskies run and run and run for it.
Bethany Wraithel entered the game and headed back to serve. Tosses it up, able to get it over. Errant reception straight back to the Cougars. And India Day sets up the Muskies. Livesey keeps it up. Now Day with a shot. And there's going to be a double touch called on Lakeland. So CUC catches a break on what was a weird play.
Yeah, wasn't quite sure what happened with India Day's set. I think just hit it a little too hard, but ended up going well for the Cougs.
Wraith lacrosse. Gay with a perfect floater into the middle of the gap. And that's something we've also seen all season long with the Cougars is with the defense they've been playing, there's a big gap in the middle floor, and you'll see teams usually start to exploit that as games go on.
Yeah, we've seen Lakeland do that a little bit so far. Is now Coach Andrew Palmer's trying to argue something. Couldn't tell exactly what.
Not sure.
I mean, doesn't look like there's anything out of the ordinary on that Muskie hit.
If I had to guess, it might be talking about Something with Gay going over the net.
I don't know. It looked like Palmer's pointing at a spot on the floor, but I don't know.
Point stays with the Muskies. Fitzgerald setting up Day. Tapper kept up by Figgy. Gay setting that for Ernsteiner as that's knocked out of bounds off the Cougs. So back to 3-point lead for the Muskies.
Just when the Cougs string some points together, Lakeland answers with a run of their own.
Say receives. Fitzgerald tracks it down. Hunt from mid-range. Tipped at the line and knocked down by Hughes. Lily Hunt, her 5th of the day.
I think Hughes just got her hands up in that one out of instinct to protect her face, and as a result didn't have any real shot on it. She just made contact with it and sent it into the ground.
That's one of those shots you're preparing for it to come straight to you, but it gets tipped at the line, loses a bit of that velocity and drops down. Now Adler with the serve sends it into the net, so it'll go straight back over to the Muskies.
And if you're the Cougs and you're trying to win this set and then win this match as well, you can't have service errors like that. You need to play clean volleyball.
Figgy with the serve. Livesey receives. Gonsalves keeps it over. Livesey just has to pass it across. Gay setting up for Jackson. Nobody watching the back line for the Cougars, and it's a 4-point lead again for the Muskies.
You can see there was a massive space just wide open there, and Lakeland saw it too.
Figgy sends it into the net, so that'll head back over to the Cougars, getting back to a 3-point deficit, 6-9.
Cougs all too happy to take advantage of the points that they can get. Need to string a few together offensively, though.
India Day gets it over. Errant reception. Gonsalves tries to slap it. Errant reception again. Livesey to Adler. Setting Gonsalves. Just has to slap it. Gay setting over to Kovalaski. And Lakeland survives long enough to win the point.
Cougars had some good opportunities there off some errant Muskie touches, but they weren't able to do anything with them.
Bernsteiner with the serve. Adler with the set to Cooper. And the Muskies block went up early. Harmony Cooper hanging up there a while before she gets to that ball.
Yeah, it looked like the Muskies block went up, anticipating that that first hit was going to go over the net. So then when Adler saved it and Cooper hit it over, the Muskies were unprepared.
So it's Cooper back to serve. Gets it over, and it's an ace. Another one for Harmony Cooper, as Kovalaski can't reel it cleanly.
Sometimes just need a few points like that to go your way, and Cougars are trying to keep the momentum on their side.
Cooper sends it over. Gay setting up Jackson. Too much sauce on it. And the Cougs are within one.
Cougars on the far side hit the dirt when that one was coming. They knew that one had way too much juice on it. And like I said, now within one.
One-point deficit. Cooper sends it into the net. Cougs get close, can't get close enough. It's back to an 11-9 game as Malia Kovalaski heads back to serve.
Cougs really just have to stop being their own worst enemy here.
Kovalaski gets it over. Day receives. Adler. Quick set for Quevedo. Floater kept up. Gay over to Hughes. Blocked back, but out of bounds. And it's a 3-point lead for Lakeland.
It's a good ability by the Cougs front line to go up for that block, but weren't able to angle it correctly.
12-9 is the score. Day, awkward reception. Livesey just has to slap it. Gay over to Hughes, tipped up. Adler to Rathel, setting on the backside for Brown, and that'll get down. Jordan Brown into the game and gets her first kill, and she'll promptly make her exit as rotation works its way around. Cougars within 2.
And Cougars have been able to get close, but haven't been able to tie it up in a while.
Fitzgerald gets it over and into the bleachers for another ace. 4th of the day for Eva Fitzgerald.
That was a nice stretch by the Muskies to try to save it, but in the end, Eva Fitzgerald makes it ace number 4.
Kowalski receives, and Gay just kind of hit it. And the Cougars, trying to get up there and block it, weren't ready for it to go the direction it went, so Sydney Gay picks up the point.
Yeah, it was very nice anticipation there by Sydney Gay. She knew the Cougs were expecting her to set it up for a big hit, so she just swiped it right over the net.
Rayful receives, Fitzgerald setting for Cavado. And Faith Baker sends it straight back where it came from.
Faith Baker just redirect that one like a missile at the Cougs, and Cougs didn't have any time to respond.
Livesey receives, Fitzgerald setting over to Hunt. Tipped and out of bounds, point Cougars.
Cougs are doing a good job of keeping this set close. They're not letting Lakeland get ahead by more than 3 points. Fortunately, Cougars haven't also been able to tie it.
Concordia back within 2. Livesey now with the serve, gets it over. Gay setting over to Hughes, and that'll get down. Lakeland back in front by 3.
At this point, 2 teams are just trading points back and forth with each other, which Lakeland's happy to do. They're up by 3. They'll trade points all the way to the end if they have to.
Gay serving with a 15-12 lead. Livesey, errant reception, and Hughes just gonna send it straight back where it came from.
Yeah, Cougs tipped it at the line, but since it's so far back, there was no one even in the vicinity to try to make a play on it.
16-12 is the score. Rayful receives, Fitzgerald setting for Day, who just powers through the block.
India Day saw that block come and said, I don't care, I'm just going to hit it so hard you can't block it.
16-13, Rayful now back to serve. Gay setting for Hughes, blocked out of bounds, point Lakeland. And Smythe Hughes has been working the left side and just playing those angles off the blocks, getting them deflected out of bounds, and it is working. Back to a 4-point lead for the Muskies. Fitzgerald setting for Cooper, who is going to send it out of bounds, and Fakey out of instinct to just try to throw a hand up to stop it. So the Cougars catch a break.
And Cougs will take those breaks to try and stay close in this set.
Yeah, it has been a tough set for the Cougars so far. They've gotten close a couple times, just haven't been able to get in front.
And they've gotten into 1 or 2 a few times, but then Lakeland just turns around and goes on a run, gets up to 3 or 4.
Adler now with the serve, tosses it up, sends it over. Set up for Baker again. Cougars don't even try to block it again. Same play working wonders for Lakeland as they lead by 4.
And at some point, if you're the Cougars, you got to figure out how to run a counter to that play, because Lakeland's been running it on repeat to perfection so far.
Livesey receives. Adler setting up for Day. Blocked, and it'll get down on Lakeland's side of the court. CUC will take that point back. They still trail by 3, scores 18-15.
Cougs need to go on a mini run here if they want to tie it up and put themselves in the spot to win this set.
Rosemary Brenner back to serve. Brenner will send it over. Day setting back for Pernsteiner, who gets on top of it and sends it into the net. Back-to-back scores for the Cougars there within 2.
And they'll take those Lakeland errors all day long.
Brenner tipped off the net. Day sets that for Baker. Blocks down. It's actually Jackson on the shot, but either way, Cougars send it straight back where it came from, and they're within one again.
Good job there by the front line of the Cougs to not redirect, to just send it straight back at the Muskies.
Brenner gets it over. That'll be set up for Kovalaski. Adler keeps it up. Rathel setting back for Livesey from mid-range. Just slapped down by Jackson.
Yeah, Cougs just went to get that over the net, and Lakeland answered by smacking it back at him.
2-point lead for Lakeland. Rathel to Adler, sets Cooper. Slapped over, Brown to Adler, passing up for Livesey. Now Cooper, long pass, Adler tracks it down. Brown runs up on it. It's tipped, and it's a point for the Cougs. Or actually looks like it's an encroachment error tagged on Kenzie Jackson. Either way, Cougars pick up the point. They're back within one.
Very fortunate turn of events there for the Cougars. That shot was out, but they get the encroachment call, like you said, and again, get it to within one.
Cooper back to serve from a 1-point deficit. Day setting up for Kovalaski. And miscommunication on the back row. That'll get out of bounds. Lakeland back to a 2-point lead. Again, the Cougars, they're coming close, but they just can't get over that last hump.
Yeah, they've been playing good offense and relatively decent defense, but just haven't been able to make that big push they need to.
Kovalaski gets it over. Livesey receives. Adler has to pass it up for Livesey. That'll get back up over the net. Livesey tries to slap it, blocked over. Adler over to Livesey again. That one will get out the back end. And it's a 3-point lead for Lakeland.
Livesey just put too much juice on that one, kind of rocket over the back line.
And now Andrew Palmer will call his first time out of the set. Cougs trail by 3 as we head to a break here on the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. 21-18 is the lead for Lakeland in set number 3. Livesey receives that serve. Cavado can't get it over the net. And the Muskies in front by 4. It's 22-18.
Yeah, Cavado was trying to go for the big hit there, but I don't know if he just didn't time the jump right or just didn't get the correct angle off the hit. It went straight into the net.
Kovalaski across. Livesey, errant reception. Easy kill for Hughes.
And if you're Andrew Palmer, this is absolutely not what you want to see coming out of the timeout. Lakeland picks up the first 2 points and are now just 2 from victory.
Kovalaski keeping the serve. Brenner receives. Adler setting over to Brown. Blocked, kept up, and into the bleachers. 6-point lead for the Muskies. It's 24-18.
Now if the Cougars want to force some extra volleyball to try and win this set. They need to go 6-0 scoring a run.
Kowalski over Livesey to Adler. Cavado gets it over, and Lakeland sends it into the tower, so the Cougars do pick up a point. They'll need 5 in a row to get back in it.
1 down, 5 to go.
And it's Eva Fitzgerald coming in from Elena Adler and headed back to serve. So the Cougars' best server is into the game when they need it. Day setting over to Hughes. Livesey to Fitzgerald. Livesey tipped at the line. Day setting over to Hughes again. Finds the gap in the middle of the court. And Lakeland wins it 25-19.
Lakeland came out strong in the second set. Once they got the lead, they never looked back. They're 1 set away from going into conference play with 10 straight wins, or conference tournament with 10 straight wins.
The Cougars got close, couldn't get over it, and they'll head into set number 3, trailing 2-0. Looking to fight to keep the last game of their season alive. That'll do it for set number 2. We'll be back in a couple minutes for set number 3 on the Cougar Sports Network. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network here for set number 3 in River Forest. Cougars trailing 2-0 as we get ready to go.
Cougs trying to find some momentum, see if they can pull off a miracle reverse sweep here of Lakeland, who's sitting at 4th in the NAC conference. Got a lot of work to do, and it all starts here with set number 3. They got to win the first one before they can win the second and the third one.
A lot of work to do for the Cougars. They've played well today, but falling apart at some points as it's taking a bit longer to get going as the officials are trying to figure out the rotations for Concordia, and it looks like they finally do.
Yeah, it looks like Janelle White went in for Ava Quevedo.
It'll be Lakeland to serve things up to start the set, as it looks like we'll finally get going. Back for the serve is Riley Escobar. Escobar gets it over. Brown receives. Fitzgerald tracks it down. Hunt from mid-range. Kept up. Gay passing up for Kovalaski. Hunt receives. Fitzgerald will send it for Cooper. Floater! Kept up and over! Escobar keeps it alive. Fitzgerald, a dump off. And she preys on the gap in the middle of the court. Lakeland keeping that play going longer than it should have. And it's a 1-point lead for the Cougars as they draw first blood again.
That was a great play by the Muskies to keep it up, but in the end, Cougars got the point nevertheless.
Gay, a dump off. And she'll win it with one of her own. Cougars just not anticipating it.
And that's something we've seen the Cougs struggle with a little bit so far today, is just anticipating Lakeland's moves. They just haven't done an ideal job of that.
Back for the serve is Ryan Figge. Figge sends it over. White receives. Fitzgerald setting up Hunt. Blocked and down. 2-1 lead for Lakeland as they get back out in front early. White receives. Fitzgerald this time setting for Day. Blocked back over. Cooper puts it up for Day. Looking for the back line. Passed over to Pernsteiner. They're going to say that's down inbounds. Point Lakeland. They lead by 2.
Cougs kind of fell away from that one because they thought Pernsteiner's shot was going out of bounds, but according to the ref, it clipped the line.
Figge sends it over. Brown receives. Fitzgerald passing over to Day. Now Gay looking to set up Kovalaski. Kept up by White. Fitzgerald now setting Day. Blocked in the line. Kept up. Cooper to Fitzgerald. Just has to shove it over. Day now passing to Kovalaski. That one will get down. And it's a 3-point lead for Lakeland.
And we saw in the last set when Lakeland got up and got a few points together, they never looked back, and they're trying to continue that trend here in set 3 and just ride this wave to victory. Try to make it a clean sweep with the Cougs.
Day receives. Fitzgerald setting for Cooper. Can't find ground. Now Pernsteiner blocked the line. It'll be Pernsteiner again. Just punches it over. Fitzgerald setting up Day. Escobar to Gay. To Kovalaski. And that'll get down. Blocked at the line. And the Cougs break the 4-0 run.
If the Cougs want to keep getting some momentum and getting some points, they need big plays like that out of their front line. They need some of those bigger quality blocks.
Cooper with the serve, and it's into the net to send it straight back over to Lakeland.
Makes it the 4th service error of the day for the Cougs.
And their service line started off very strong in set number 1. Struggled since. As some miscommunication on the far side for Concordia. Gives a free point to Lakeland. They lead by 4 again, 6-2.
It looked like Quevedo thought that India Day was stopping there. Meanwhile, Day just sprinted right past the ball.
Brenner receives. Fitzgerald setting for Hunt. And that'll get down. Lily Hunt, her 7th kill of the day. And the Cougars get back within 3.
And Lily Hunt with a big shot there. Sent it all the way to the back. Lakeland wasn't able to do much with it other than make some contact.
Adler sends it over. Kept up and from Kovalaski. that'll get down out of bounds. The point goes to Lakeland. Andrew Palmer is upset because he's convinced that ball was past the net when Kowalski sent it over, and I think he has a pretty fair argument for that.
Yeah, I would say from this angle, we're pretty much even with the net. It did appear to me that, yeah, that was past the net when it was sent over. But nevertheless, point stays with the Muskies.
Palmer not fighting it much, has not gotten his way with the officials today. Adler sets that up for Day, can't get it over the net, too much on top of it again, and it's a 5-point lead for the Muskies.
And we've seen some times today when India Day will go up for those hits, but she'll just angle it way too much on top and just send it directly into the net.
Kowalski over, Brenner to Adler, setting Cavado. And Cavado, a nice shot to the near side. Can't be kept up by the Muskies, and the Cougs are within 4.
That was an excellent shot by Cavado. She just got up, sent it all the way here to the near side corner, and the Muskies couldn't get a clean reception on it.
Day sends it out of bounds. Another service error for Concordia. And it's back to a 5-point lead for the Muskies.
There's never really a doubt on that one. You could tell the second she hit it that one was going way too far.
Brown sends it straight back over. Gay setting up Hughes. Kept in by Brown. Adler just passes it up. Baker can't get it down. Brown, a slapper and a floater. Kept in by Gay. Baker passes it up. White to Adler. Setting up Consalvis. And that'll stay up. Hughes passing to Gay, who passes it over. Day to Adler to Cavado. Blocked into her head. And Lakeland comes out with the point.
Cavado tried to get that shot up, but instead got it blocked directly at her dome. Didn't have time to get our hands up for that one.
Shapansky sends it into the net for a service error of her own. So the Cougars pick up a point. They get within 5. Score is 10-5 as Bethany Rathel heads back for the serve.
Rathel trying to do some work to turn the tides for the Cougs here in set 3.
Able to get it over, and it's an ace. Kowalski backed off of it for some reason.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened with that. Like you said, she backed off, but it wasn't anyone else coming in to take it, so I'm not really sure what the thought process was there.
4-point gap. Rathel gets it over. Hughes to Gay. Back to Hughes. Can't get it over the net. And the Cougs, 3 points in a row. They trail by 3.
They'll take that string of points. You have a service error by Lakeland, an ace by the Cougs, error by Lakeland. Cougs are happy to take that.
Rathel gets it over. Hughes to Gay, setting for Hughes, and that'll find Pater on the back row. Smythe Hughes ends the run. And it's back to a 4-point lead for Lakeland, 11-7.
And Hughes saw that the Cougar defense was split between top and bottom, so she just placed it right there in the middle.
Gay with the serve, received by Day. Adler passing over to Brown. That'll find Pater! Jordan Brown, a hard shot to the back row, and the Cougs bring it back.
That was an absolutely massive shot there by Jordan Brown. She just sent a power shot straight at Lakeland, who couldn't do anything with it, and the Cougars once again get possession back.
Eva Fitzgerald with the serve. Gay setting for Baker. And they finally are able to get that play off, and that'll get down on the back corner. As the Muskies will take that point back to their side. It's a 4-point lead, 12-8.
That was just excellent design and execution. Baker with the perfect placement at that far side corner. Cougs weren't expecting it whatsoever.
Escobar sends it over. Brown to Fitzgerald. The setting for Cooper went up too early. Brown has to slap it over. Tipped up, Fitzgerald to Rathel. Setting Hunt. Kovalaski sends it over, Fitzgerald to Rathel again, this time for Brown. Hard shot again! Into the ref! Jordan Brown heating up, and the Cougs are within 3.
And that's what you need at this stage of the match and set. You need players like Jordan Brown to step up and answer the call and get some of those really big hits.
Brown with the serve. Just kind of pulled up on it.
Yeah, you don't usually see service errors like that where they just go really wide in one direction. Usually they're obviously short or way too long.
Yeah, it looked like she started her footwork and steps, but just didn't put the ball up, and she had to freeze and throw the ball up, and it was awkward from start to finish. But the Cougars will take it back due to, honestly, the exact same error from Ryan Figge.
Very odd turn of events there.
So it's a 3-point game, 13-10. Harmony Cooper with the serve. Up. Over. Escobar receives. Gay passing to Kovalaski. Cooper receives. Fitzgerald. Now she'll set for Day. Slaps it. Kept up by Figge. Pernsteiner gets it through the block. Just found a hole between Quevedo and Day. And it's back to a 4-point game.
And again, the Cougs can't trade points with Lakeland at this mark. They really just need to go on a run.
Quevedo keeps it up. Brenner to Day. Gets it over. Gay to Kovalaski, and it's blocked out of bounds.
That was a big block. Good anticipation by the Cougs, but just no direction on that block.
Pernsteiner sends it over. Brenner receives. Fitzgerald setting Hunt. Blocked out of bounds. So the Cougars will get the point back. And we'll stay hovering around this 4-point margin.
And this is what we saw in set number 2, Jonathan. The Cougs were able to stay within a certain range behind Lakeland, but they were never able to get over the hump and get past that range.
Yeah, they're just not able to go on a long enough run of their own. As Melena Adler will be ready to serve it up. And she sends it out of bounds. A lot of service errors going wide right now. Like you mentioned, Eric, it's something we don't usually see. Back for the serve is Malia Kovalaski. Kovalaski gets it over. White receives. Adler setting for Quevedo on the run. Brenner to Adler. Long pass today. Can't get it over the net again. And Lakeland leads by 6.
And again, Lakeland has just done an excellent job throughout the day today of just answering everything that the Cougars do with a play of their own.
Miscommunication on the back line. It's an ace for the Muskies. And I was wondering when Andrew Palmer was going to call a timeout.
Yeah.
He begrudgingly does so.
To me, I think the right time to call that would have been about 15-11, not 18-11, but, you know, I am not a volleyball head coach.
Cougars in a big hole. They'll see if they can find a way to dig out of it after this timeout. We'll be back on the Cougar Sports Network in just a minute. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. As we go into the dying stages of set number 3 and possibly the Cougars season, Lakeland leading 18-11. White to Adler, setting Day, who's out behind it. Gay passing over to Hughes, blocked back. Gay passing up Hughes again. White receives. Adler looking for Day. Kept up by Figgy. Gay running to set up Hughes again. Brenner keeps it alive. Gonsalves tries to find Pater. Figgy to Gay. Let's go for Hughes again. Kept up by Adler again. White passing for Day again. Figgy, errant reception. Cavado tries to dunk it. Heck of a shot from Sidney Gay to just slap it over, and the Cougars defense caught on their heels. And yeah, Sidney Gay pounces upon just a lapse in awareness from the Cougar defense to give the Muskies an 8-point lead. And Salvis to Adler, who just has to pass it over. Gay setting Jackson on the run for an easy shot.
At this point, Muskies 5 points away from ending the Cougs' 2025 season.
Govalaski to White. Adler setting Cavado. Can't get it down. Gay this time setting Hughes. Blocked. And over to the scores table. So it's a 10-point lead for Lakeland as the Cougars just can't seem to get it back over.
And whatever was said by Coach Andrew Palmer in that timeout did not work, as Lakeland has scored the first 3 points out of it.
That's been actually pretty much every single Cougar timeout today. They have not scored off of a timeout all day. Gonsalves can't get that straight down. Kovalaski sends it over. White to Adler, setting Gonsalves. That's blocked out of bounds, so the Cougars do pick up the point. They end a 6-0 run. They trail by 9. They want to get back in it. They're going to have to go on a run soon.
Yeah, at this point, the Cougs, you need to respond to what Lakeland did with a 6-0 run of your own. Like, that's the only way you can stay in this and keep your season alive for at least a few more minutes.
Hughes to Gay, back to Hughes. Floater! And it's back to a 10-point gap.
Yeah, just miscommunication there between Brown and Adler. Adler was trucked straight into Brown there, and neither one was able to come up with the ball.
Jackson with the serve, gets it over. Brown receives. Adler setting for Cavado. Can't find ground. Gay setting Baker. Went up a bit early. Now Brown blocked, kept up by Gay. Pass over to Hughes. Day keeps it up. Adler now setting Gonsalves, who just sends it too far inside. Can't get it over the net. And it's an 11-point gap.
Yeah, it looked like Gonsalves there was trying to go a little bit south to north there and get it on the inside part of the Lakeland floor, but just did not execute it properly.
Jackson with the serve. Looking to finish off a dominant 3-set sweep received by Brown. Adler to Brown. Gay sets that for Hughes. Off the net, out of bounds. Point Cougars. So CUC gets the big point to cut the lead to 10.
And at least take some knowledge in the fact that they won't be doubled up today at least.
Janelle White with the serve. Tosses it up, sends it over. Kovalaski receives. Gay setting over to Hughes. Blocked out of bounds. Almost in. And the point will go back to Lakeland. They have match point, 24-13.
Now if the Cougs want to force set 4, they need to go on a 13-0 run. Stranger things have happened, but I find it a little bit unlikely.
Cougars still got a slim chance. Day to Adler to Brown, tipped. Hughes pushes it over. Day to Adler, now it's Gonsalves, out of bounds. And the Cougs season ends on an error as Drops of Jupiter will play for this squad for one last time this season. Same old song, same old Cougs as they get swept in their season finale by the Lakeland Muskies. Cougars season will end with a 6-20 overall record, 2-11 in conference. The Muskies finish out their regular season on a 10-game win streak. In conference, Lakeland is hot as they get ready to go into the postseason.
Yeah, Lakeland's got all the momentum heading into NAC play. Right now they're sitting at, I believe, the number 4 spot. Well, I think last time I checked, 2, 3, and 4 had not yet been locked in, so they might be able to move up with a win and some other games going their way. But for the Cougs, you head into the off season and you're just kind of wondering what's next. You know, if you're the seniors, this was your last go-around of, probably your last go-around of volleyball at a competitive level, and for the people that will return next year, just kind of figure out how you can right the ship in the offseason.
Yeah, there will be a lot of questions for the Cougars this offseason as we see how they'll continue on next year. That'll do it for Cougar volleyball season. We look back a bit at today's game. Big day for Samaya Hughes, 14 kills and a .263 hitting percentage. Maria Kogolaski second on their team with 8 kills. Lily Hunt leading the Cougars with 8 kills herself. India Day following her up with 6 to her own. And a very clean day for the Muskies. Just 11 errors on the day. Cougars committing 24 errors throughout the game. And a very solid team hitting percentage for Lakeland as well. .282 hitting percentage for the Muskies on the day as well. But that'll do it for Cougar volleyball season. Finish their year 2-11 in conference, 6-20 overall. And they'll be back in action in a year's time next fall after a long off season to figure things out. Lakeland, they're back in action in the NAC postseason this upcoming week. And us on the Cougar Sports Network are back in action tonight, back in Geisman Gymnasium for the season opener for Cougar basketball. The men's team hosting Greenville University in that season opening classic. The last 2 years, those games going into triple digits. They have been barn burners, and we'll have another edition of that matchup live here on the Cougar Sports Network at 7 o'clock tonight. Make sure to tune into that, but that'll do it today for Cougar volleyball. Concordia swept 3-0 by the visiting Lakeland Muskies. Thank you for tuning in today's broadcast, and thank you to everyone who made today's broadcast possible. I'm Jonathan Shearer with the Cougar Sports Network. Joining me today was Eric Perry. Thank you for joining us, and as always, roll Cougs.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.